we go. What is going on? Welcome to another TubeBuddy live stream. Today we're talking about things that YouTubers do wrong and how that you can actually fix them. Now, I want to let you know, as we get into this stream right here, if you have any questions at all that you want me to answer later in the stream during the Q&A session, make sure there is a link to a Google Doc down in the description right now. Make sure that you go down there, you click on that, you go in and you start dropping your questions in there, because when we get to the Q&A portion, we're actually going to be pulling the questions directly from that doc instead of the chat. And you know what? Maybe, yeah, fixing that right now, Andrew, thank you. Maybe, I'll be pulling a little bit of things from a little bit of questions from the actual. There we go. A little bit of questions from the chat as well, but typically we like to pull them from the docs just to keep everything organized and things like that. Sunil, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. But yeah, today we are talking about, if you're just jumping into the stream right now, because some people are starting to roll in right now as we're getting started. If you're just coming in, we're talking about things that YouTubers do wrong and how you can actually fix them. Now, these are things that through all the people that I've worked with, through things on my channel, through friends that I have that are YouTubers and things like that, I've compiled this list of things that we commonly run into that YouTubers are doing wrong. So I'm sure that, you know, all of us can relate to a lot of the things on the list, if not all of the things on the list. So I'm going to go through these and we can go ahead and start knocking them down. So the first thing that a lot of YouTubers do wrong is they don't understand their audience. They don't put in the effort to actually figure out who it is they're trying to target. Who am I trying to target with my videos? Who is it that I want to watch my videos? What kind of things are they into? What is it that they like to consume? What is it that they like to read? What is it that they like to do? What type of information can I share with them that will keep them coming back to my channel? That is extremely important. So if you're doing games, let me put this into reference here. If you're a gamer and you're doing games, and let's say that you're making Minecraft videos. Beanie Draws, what is going on? Nice to see you in here, buddy. Let's say that you're making Minecraft videos, right? If you're a gamer, and there's a certain part of Minecraft that maybe a lot of the Minecraft community happens to be into, and then there's the part of the Minecraft community that you happen to be into. Right there, you have to make the choice, and you have to say, okay, am I making these videos for the sake of just me, or am I making these videos for the sake of the community that I'm trying to build? That's an extremely important thing that you need to define in order to make sure that you are trying to reach your target audience. So another thing is, let's say that you're sharing information, kind of like I do, right? Let's say that you're sharing information. You say, okay, my audience, I think that they need to know these particular things, right? What I've found is that there's often a disconnect there between what it is that I think the audience needs to know versus what the audience actually wants to know, right? So that's where understanding your audience really comes into play, because if you go and you say, okay, well, this is what my audience wants to know, you're going to get a lot better results than going after, this is what I think my audience needs to know, right? Because then they're going to come, because they're basically, you're serving their needs instead of serving your own needs with your content. Now, another common mistake that YouTubers often make, Paul Peck in Florida, nice. Glad you guys made it through the hurricane down there when that went down. But another thing that is a common YouTuber mistake is waiting to make good content, waiting to monetize your channel, etc. Basically, the mistake is actually waiting, right? So let's say, for example, a lot of people, they'll start out a YouTube channel and they'll say, okay, I'm going to do this YouTube channel, and once I start getting some traction, once I start getting some fans, once I reach this particular number or this particular number, then I'm going to start making more content. Then I'm going to start putting in more effort. Then I'm going to start monetizing my channel. Then I'm going to start doing all of these other things. Here's the thing. If you're not trying the best that you possibly can, if you're seriously trying to grow a YouTube channel, if you're not trying right out of the gate as best as you possibly can, making everything as good as you can within the abilities that you have and serving your audience. If you're not doing that right out of the gate, what you're doing is you're creating a video library that is not going to work for you on your behalf. And as you transition through the process of saying, okay, well, things are starting to do good now, so I'm going to start taking this seriously. When you're making that transition, then you're going to create a small disconnect from the people that have already subscribed to your content. And the thing is, if you start out and you say, okay, I'm not going to wait to make good content, I'm going to start making content now like I'm already in the place that I want to be, right? So instead of saying, okay, once I get 10,000 subscribers, I'm going to start making content like this. Instead of going that route, say, if I had 100,000 subscribers, this is how I would make my content. This is how I would present myself. This is how I would try to make everything look. This is the information or whatever type of content it is that you share. Like, this is the type of stuff that I would be doing at 100,000 subscribers. If you do that now, then what you're going to do is you're going to basically build up that audience right out of the gate, and it's going to be impressive right out of the gate because you're going to be communicating directly with the people that are into your content. You're going to be giving it your all. And that's really what that part of it comes down to. Now, as far as the monetization thing goes, a lot of people will also hold off on this. And I made this mistake too. A lot of people will hold off on this. They'll say, okay, well, I'm not going to monetize through Patreon or through ads or anything like that until I get, way down the road. Now, that's okay to an extent, right? As far as ads are concerned. But if you're creating a video library, right? And you have things that you think, okay, well, I'm going to, what's going on doing it with Jason? And you're saying, okay, well, I'm going to start monetizing through Patreon as an example. A lot of people will wait for that. Or if you are setting up a channel to where you're doing some type of client work or you're providing some type of service, like let's say like website design or something like that, then if you actually wait to start getting all of those things in place until you have an audience, then you're creating an entire backlog of content that is not working for you on your behalf. So if you go ahead and you start offering those products and services now, if that's something that you do, or you go ahead and you put up that Patreon now, then as your video library goes, or as your video library grows, you already have all of this stuff built in so that, you constantly have this humongous backlog of videos that are working for you on your behalf. Extremely important. Now, I have a client of mine. He wanted to offer consulting services. He does fashion. He has a fashion channel, and he wanted to start doing consulting. And he said, "Okay, I want to do fashion consulting. That's my long-term goal with my YouTube channel." So I said, "Hey, do you have a website? Do you have any way that people can contact you right now?" Because he didn't even have I think he had 500 subscribers maybe, and I was like, "Do you have any of this stuff in place now to where if somebody wants consulting right now, to where they can contact you?" And he said no. So I said, okay, well, the first thing you need to do is you need to build those doors, so to speak, so that opportunity can knock on them. So as you're, same exact thing as I'm telling you right now, so as you're building up your video library, then you have all of these assets working for you, pushing people towards whatever it is that you happen to be offering. So in his case, he put all this stuff together, and over the course of, I believe it was 3 weeks, with less than 1,000 subscribers, again, I think he was somewhere around the 500 subscriber mark, he got his first client that he would not have gotten if he did not have these things in place. So basically what's going to happen now is, now that he has all this stuff in place, as his video library grows, then his business is going to grow, his income is going to grow right along and right in sync with the influence that he picks up on YouTube and on social media. So Mary's Life Outside of the G-Team Paranormal. That's a big channel name. Go ahead and leave your questions. There's a Google Doc down in the description below. Go ahead and leave your questions down there. And then as we go through, I start, once we get into the Q&A part of this, then I'll start pulling those from the doc. Now, another thing that a lot of YouTubers don't do is a mistake that they make is, if they are seriously trying to grow their channel, a lot of people won't take YouTube seriously, right? Now, what that means is, well, hey, I'm going to make this video, but it's just YouTube. Or, hey, I'm going to do this, but you know what? I'm not going to worry about it because it's just YouTube, right? So if you take YouTube seriously, then you're going to end up getting the best possible results if your goal is to grow your channel, to grow your influence on the internet and all of that, and maybe even eventually turn your YouTube channel into an income source. If that is something that you're after, then you have to take your YouTube channel seriously, at least somewhat, as you are, going through the process of growing your channel. I mean, of course, it's definitely logical comedy. What's up? What's going on? Of course, it makes total sense to say, okay, well, right now I'm just going to do what I can. Absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. But as far as like your perception of it, as far as, what you look at YouTube as, that is where it really comes into play. Like, as an example, one of the other things that people do is they don't understand the power of YouTube, and they don't structure everything for maximum benefit. So what I mean by that is everybody in this chat right now, everybody that's watching this stream right now, if you're watching it live or if you're watching it on the replay, the amount of opportunity that's built into YouTube, if you take the time to build your influence, you build your channel, you make quality content, you serve an audience of some kind, the amount of opportunity that's on YouTube is immense. And that opportunity comes in a bunch of different forms. It comes with connections that you make with other people. It comes in the form of money. It comes in the form of actual influence, as far as being able to say to a bunch of people at one time, hey, go do this. And then a bunch of people go and do that, right? So the actual opportunity itself that's built into YouTube is immense. And it's important that with every single video that you make, that you keep that in mind. You say, okay, well, I'm going to structure all of this stuff for maximum benefit, because there's a lot of opportunity to be had on YouTube. Now, real quick, I want to jump into the chat, and I want to say that if you have not shared this video out yet, go ahead and click the like button first, and then share this video out to Twitter and Facebook right now so that we can get more YouTubers into the stream. I also want to say a big thank you to Andrew Can for moderating the channel, or for moderating the chat today. And one thing, if you haven't noticed, if this is if you're seeing this stream right now, and you've watched one of my streams before, as you can see, I'm in a different environment here. I'm actually in Arizona, so I'm in the States right now instead of over in Thailand. So everything here is just a little bit wonky, but we're working through it. So another thing that a lot of YouTubers don't do, a big mistake they make, is they don't invest the time or the money into educating themselves on how to actually get results here on YouTube. Now, that comes in a bunch of different forms, right? You either have time or you have money, one of the two. So you got to work within what you have. But on YouTube itself, through me, through all of the other instructors here on the TubeBuddy channel, through the TubeBuddy channel itself, and just YouTube in general, there is just a humongous amount of advice on how do you grow your channel? How do you come up with video ideas? How do you make awesome videos? How do you do all of this stuff that is YouTube related? Take the time, right? Paul Peck, thank you for the share and the like. I appreciate it. But take your time and learn this stuff, because if you're serious, again, all of this falls back on if you're actually serious about growing your YouTube channel or not. If it's something that you're just doing for fun, you're just doing it as a hobby, then all of the things that I'm talking about are not as important, because that growth side of things isn't as important to you. However, if you're trying to actually create something out of your YouTube channel, then all of the things that I'm talking about right now are extremely important. And one of the most important things is educating yourself, because that whole thing, I know that you've heard it before, that whole knowledge is power thing. It all kind of falls under that. The more you know, the easier everything is, because you start to understand the inner workings of how all of this stuff works. And once you start to gain that through education, then everything ends up doing a lot better for you. Like, as an example, even, because there's the free side, there's the paid side, like Owen, who is a streamer, also Owen Video, who's a streamer on this channel. He has his BizTube Academy. Roberto Blake, he has a mentorship program. Brian G. Johnson, he's got training material on his Patreon. All of us do consulting stuff. I mean, the education part is so important that if you are seriously trying to grow your YouTube channel, educating yourself is kind of the fast track in order to make it all happen. V-Rax, my pleasure. I'm glad you find value in it. Thank you. Another humongous mistake, and let me know in the chat, as I'm going through these, let me know in the chat, hey, I'm making this mistake right now, or hey, this is a mistake I've made in the past, or hey, this is something that I didn't even think that I was doing wrong, but now, now that you mentioned it, I kind of know. So let me know in the chat you know, how you feel about some of the things that I'm talking about. And let me know some of the stuff that you're doing wrong as well. And then later, when we get into the actual Q&A portion, we can kind of revisit some of that and try to help you through it. So the next thing is, a lot of people, tons of YouTubers, maybe you, we think of, okay, I'm going to take YouTube and I get this a lot because of the type of content that I make. My comment sections are filled with this. I want to make YouTube my job. What do I do? I want to make YouTube my job. And I'll reply, oh, that's cool. You know, what's your plan? Or, you know, what kind of plan do you have in place in order to make that happen? Well, I don't really have a plan. I just want to upload videos and make YouTube my job, right? So, Brian G. Johnson, what is going on? Nice to see you in here, buddy. I was just talking about you. Your ears must have been itching, as a matter of fact. But a lot of people, they say, okay, I want to make YouTube my job, but they don't have any plan in place in order to actually make that happen. Because, as we all know, right, ads, they're kind of the slow road unless you're getting tons of views. If you're getting tons of views, you can make a ton of money off of ads, but that requires a ton of views. So if you're wanting to make YouTube your job, the way that you actually fix that one is you get a plan in place, and you say, okay, well, in order to make YouTube my job, I need to make X amount of money per month, per week, however you want to break it down, that will replace my current job so that I can do YouTube more, so that I can, you know, create more, so that I can create other assets around my YouTube channel in order to, you know, to kind of keep amplifying, saying that for you, Brian, in order to keep amplifying everything it is that I'm doing to the point that I can eventually make YouTube my job. You have to get that plan in place in order to be able to work that plan, so to speak, so that down the road you can actually make it into a reality. Because if you don't have that plan, then it's not going to happen. If it does happen, then it's going to be by luck. The next thing, and this one's huge. The next thing, I've got a few big ones coming too. The next thing that a lot of YouTubers are doing wrong is they're not being patient, right? So I actually saw in this chat here just a little bit ago, somebody mentioned, you know, hey, I need to get subscribers, right? On one of my videos today, I had a viewer say, hey, people, please come and subscribe to my channel. I have to get subscribers, right? And it's like, hey, one, why do you have to get subscribers? Two, be patient, right? Because you don't get subscribers by, you know, begging people for subscribers. We all know that. You get subscribers by making content that people actually like, right? You make content by learning, or you grow by learning how to rank your content so that people can find it. You grow by learning. Again, this falls back on the education thing that I was talking about before. You grow by, I'm preaching, Brian, I'm preaching. You grow by you know, learning how to rank your videos, learning how to share your videos, by learning how to collaborate with other people, by learning, you know, the communities that you can fit into and things like that. But you grow by putting all of these things into place and going through that process and that journey, right? Of, hey, I'm starting at 0 and this is the particular place that I want to be, but right now I'm starting at 0. You have to be patient because there is that gap of time in the middle. And if you fill that gap of time with that education, then that will speed up the process. And if you're just patient, you keep plugging away, you keep working your plan and all of that stuff, then eventually things will work out for you. Almost Addicted to Minecraft says that it took a year. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, sometimes it takes a year. For some people will take off in 6 months. Some people take off in 3. Other people, it takes them 3 years, 2 years, a year, in order to really get some good traction on their channels. So, you know, that patience part of it is extremely important for all of us, you know, and especially with YouTube because, you know, they change things, you know, things like that. So being patient and saying, okay, well, this is just part of the ride. Right now, you know, my channel's not growing as fast as I would like. Right now, I'm not getting as many views as I would like. Right now, I'm not getting the engagement that I would like to have on my videos, but saying, okay, that's what's going on right now, but I'm going to keep working my plan. Like I was saying a minute ago, I'm going to keep working my plan. I'm going to keep going through all of this stuff. I'm going to keep educating myself. And through that process, I'm going to end up getting those views. I'm going to end up getting those subscribers. I'm going to end up being known in my particular niche as somebody that makes this particular type of content. And you're going to, oh, that's great. Yeah, Andrew dropped a quote in here, and I want to say that. And this is from Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee says, "A man who has tried 10,000 kicks doesn't scare me. A man who has tried one kick 10,000 times does." Excellent, excellent quote there, Andrew Can. That's from Bruce Lee, and I mean that's right on the money. If you can't take advice from Bruce Lee, then I don't know. I don't know if there's any help for you. So Almost Addicted Minecraft says that they spent a year growing their Instagram before YouTube, and then that helped them give a little bit of a push. Now, that brings me to another mistake. I didn't even have this one on my list, but I'm glad that you mentioned that one. A1 Most Addicted Minecraft. Another humongous mistake that a lot of YouTubers make is the comparison game, right? They say, okay, well, I am in this particular niche, and these particular channels in my niche, for whatever reason, they're just taking off, or they're doing a lot better than me, or they're getting more views, they're getting more subscribers. For whatever reason, they're able to convert their viewers to subscribers better than I can, right? Playing that comparison game, one, it's not only going to drive you crazy, but two, you have to consider that, like in the case of A1 Minecraft, or A1 Most Addicted Minecraft, you have to consider that you don't know where their traffic is coming from, right? Like you don't know, okay, do they have a humongous Instagram following that's just feeding tons of traffic into their YouTube channel, and that's why they're growing? Do they have a humongous Twitter following that's feeding tons of traffic into their YouTube channel, and that's why they're growing? Do they have another YouTube channel? Do they have a friend that's a YouTuber that's pushing them all the time? Do they have, are they running ads? Like, you don't know what's going on behind that channel in order for them to get the results that they have. So comparing yourself to another channel that you really don't know what's going on with is something that it'll drive you crazy. And I want to hop in here for another quote since we're running on quotes today. Shelly Saves the Day says, "Comparison is the thief of joy." I absolutely love that, and you're absolutely right. Because when you're making those comparisons, you get discouraged. I know a lot of people I think a lot of people probably quit because they'll see another channel doing well, and they think, well, hey, they're doing well just on YouTube, but they don't really know why they're doing well, but they get discouraged because they're playing that comparison game, and that can be a killer. The next thing on this list is not using tools and not thinking about tools in the right way. So, and I'm not saying this because, I'm here on the TubeBuddy channel, and of course, I'm a little bit biased for TubeBuddy because I love the TubeBuddy plugin, but using tools, right? There are tons of tools that can help you with your creative process. TubeBuddy, of course, will help you learn how to rank your videos, help you manage your channel, and all of that stuff. You have all of the different software tools that will help you, make better videos. You have plugins that can help you make videos look better, can help you, make those effects that you think, well, hey, this particular channel has these effects and they look really cool. I would love to be able to do that, but I don't know how. Well, watch a YouTube video on it, find the plugin that they're using, and use it so that you can get that result that you're after. But one thing that a lot of people think of is they think, yeah, Brian, one thing that a lot of people think of is, or one way that a lot of people think of it is they think, I'm going to use TubeBuddy for this example. And again, I'm not saying this just because it's TubeBuddy, but so one way that a lot of people think of this is they say, well, that's just ridiculous. That I would pay, let's say $20 a month for anything. Let's say software. Let's say a plug-in or whatever. That's ridiculous. I shouldn't pay that. I mean, it's YouTube. Again, not taking it seriously. Again, oh, it's just YouTube, right? So I'm not going to pay that $20 a month or whatever it is. But if I were to say, okay, give me $160 right now. Give me $160 right now, and from this time forward, every single video that you upload is going to be optimized for search. Every single video that you upload, you're going to be able to test your thumbnails to find out if people are clicking on things the way that you think they're clicking on things, to find out if people are responding to your content the way that you think they should be responding to your content, or the way that you think they already are. Like, you have to think of it in a way like, if you were to give me that right now, and I said from now on, that's something that okay, yeah, you guys would throw money at me if I said, okay, from now on, you're going to be able to rank your videos. From now on, you're going to start understanding how search works. From now on, you're going to start, being able to rank your videos and get better results on YouTube. You'd throw money at me. But then when you think of it in terms of, when you look at a sales page, right? When you go to a website and you look at the pricing, for software, for TubeBuddy or whatever, and you say, wow, that's $20 a month for Adobe Premiere, or, you know, X amount for TubeBuddy or whatever, you think, well, if this is going to get me better results, if this is going to make my stuff better, if this is going to fast track what it is that I want to achieve, then it's nonsense that you don't actually make that investment to shave down your time. Another thing as well is another huge one, and we're going to get into the Q&A right here in just a minute. Another thing as well, another humongous mistake that YouTubers make is expecting the journey to be easy, right? Like, I can't even put into words how many. Yeah, and Andrew says that you can use Andrew's Buddy for an extra 25% off of TubeBuddy. So I'm going to go ahead and say that vocally in the stream as well for people that aren't able to catch this live, for anybody that's actually going to catch this on the replay. Andrew's Buddy, and you'll save 25% off of TubeBuddy. That's hooking you up right there. So the other thing was expecting the journey to be easy, right? So I can't tell you how many times I've worked with people and they've said, well, you know, I'm uploading videos and I just thought it would be easier, right? YouTube, just like anything else, the whole entire process, just like anything else, it takes work. It takes time. It takes understanding. There's a learning curve that you have to work through. You know, some people hit the nail on the head right out of the gate and they skyrocket. Other people, they have to go through the learning process, right? We're all different. We all have different experiences with our channels, but expecting it to be easy, that's kind of like the comparison game as far as setting yourself up for failure, because, you know, you got to be willing to put in the work. You have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing, even though it's overwhelming, or it can be overwhelming, you have to be willing to go into your stats and look at yourself objectively and say, you know what, this is kind of hard to say, but my content, you know what, it's not as good as I think it. It's not as good as I think it is, right? And you find that out by going into your audience retention reports in your stats on YouTube and actually seeing where people are dropping off, seeing how people are responding to your content. Because, you know, if you look at things objectively like that, even though it's hard to do because, you know, the whole ego blow, but if you can look at things objectively like that, then you can see where the holes are. And when you see where the holes are and what it is that you're doing, you can patch those holes up. And when you patch those holes up and you learn to do things better, then you end up creating better results for yourself. And then again, you're creating that advantage in order to be able to reach the goals that you're after here on YouTube. LeBron James played basketball. Andrew Can says LeBron James played basketball for 14 years before he was in the NBA. 14 years, right? But he knew, right? That is hard work, Andrew. He knew, you know, 14 years. I'm playing this game. Nobody's stopping me. You know what? I'm playing this game. I'm going to be out here. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to play this game and I'm going to keep playing until I get into the NBA. Same exact thing, right? So when you look at whatever your personal number is, because it's different for all of us, right? But whatever your personal number is, as far as, you know, hey, I want to get to this particular number. Once I get to this number, then I'm going to feel like, you know, hey, I'm really doing it, right? Whatever that number is, saying, okay, I'm going to put in the work. If it means that I don't watch Game of Thrones, I know, I'm sorry. Sorry for saying that, but it's true. If it means that I'm not going to watch the Game of Thrones in order to get that result, because I'm going to spend that time educating myself, right? If I'm not going to watch Game of Thrones in order to achieve this result, or I'm not going to do this particular, you know, thing, I'm going to replace whatever time that is kind of wasted time and put that towards making everything better for myself. If you do that, then you will win. Brian D. Johnson says, Falcon, success online is not based on time. It's hard for sure, but success is based on skills that lead to better videos. Better videos drive better results. Absolutely. Better videos keep viewers watching. And when you learn how to keep viewers watching, then the algorithm follows. YouTube specifically says, instead of focusing on what the algorithm wants, focus on what your audience wants, which goes back to one of the first mistakes I mentioned as far as understanding your audience. Know what your audience wants, make content that your audience likes, and the algorithm will follow, right? So, yeah, huge stuff there. You know, Piranha Cupcake, I am bouncy today. I am absolutely bouncy today. because this setup isn't my normal setup, as you can tell here with this stark white background, and I'm anti stark white background, but you know, whatever. But I've got my hands on this table, and when I touch it, then everything kind of bounces around a little bit. So yeah, absolutely, because I'm not in my normal environment. So now we get to go into the fun part, which is the Q&A section of this live stream. So I'm going to go into the doc right here. First, I want to go into the chat. I want to say what's up to Brian G. Johnson again. I want to say what's up to Andrew Can. Thank you so much for moderating this. I want to say what's up to BD Draws, Paul Peck, Life is a Party, JDP, MMA Holes, Piranha Cupcake, and A1 Most Addicted, Minecraft, Logical Comedy, Circuit Strike. What is going on, Yabi Addison? Okay, so now we're going to get into the Q&A portion. And this is the part that I really enjoy, because with the Q&A portion here, I get to customize, you know, the information that I'm giving. So instead of just throwing a bunch of stuff at you, I actually get to customize the answers. So if you look, Piranha Cupcake, I am super excited to be here. But if you look at the Google Doc down in the description below, if you go there, Andrew, I think, did he just put it in the, no, he didn't. But if you go down to the Google Doc, down in the description, that is where you put in your questions, and then I'm going to start running through those right now. Your question, Doing It with Jason, asks, Nick, how is your mom's house? That is a question. It's cool. I like it. I love being here. Love hanging out with my mom. She is fantastic. I actually had her on my channel last Saturday, which was a good time. Okay, let's see here. Individual. Okay. The first question is from Life is a Party, JDP. They ask, or he asks, she asks, what if I have over 450 videos and I need to update them? What is the best strategy to fix it? It depends on what it is that you need to update. If you're updating the thumbnails, then you can go through and just crank them out. If you're updating the tags, I would do just a few a day. If you're updating the titles and descriptions, I would do same thing. I would do maybe like 2 or 3 a day until you get through them, maybe a few more, but I would just kind of do them in small batches, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to go in and change everything all at once, because that can essentially, in some cases, that can cause some serious fluctuations on your channel. So I would just work through them in bits and pieces. Again, if you're doing thumbnails, you can just sit there and crank through 450 thumbnails if you have it in you. But if you're doing stuff that's actually going to change your actual metadata, in that case, I would go through and I would just do them in small batches. Since you have 450, that's a ton of videos. But since you have 450, I would just do them in smaller batches, maybe I would say 10 max per day. Like if you're going to go through and re-optimize everything, I would say 10 max a day, but I would not sit down and do all of them in one day. You know what? I need to pop this chat out here so I can get this over here. Put that over there so I can see what you're saying here. Okay, get that. Hey, in the chat, is there anybody here? I know Andrew and Brian are. Is there anybody here in the chat that's going to be at Vid Summit? Just out of curiosity. Okay, so next up on the list, let's see here. Let's go to number 2. We have Scalper Hero. The question from Scalper Hero is, I would like to know how I can keep people more interested in watching my videos. Basically, how I'm able to keep them watching and get them to click my video as well. You get them to click your video by having interesting thumbnails that make sense to the type of content it is that you're making and that draw attention, and that you have titles that are clickable titles. So as an example, if you put my trip to the mall, I like using that reference. If you put my trip to the mall, it's not very interesting. You're probably not going to generate a lot of clicks. However, if you put something like, let's see here. If you're going for suggested and you put something like, let's see here off the top of my head, kind of freestyle on this. If you put something like my crazy experience, no, that's kind of lame. If you put something like drawing blanks, if you put something like my let's see here, you wouldn't believe what happened at the mall or something like that, that's a little bit more click worthy than just my trip to the mall, because there's nothing interesting with my trip to the mall. But if you embellish it a little bit and you make it a little bit more interesting, then you can generate more clicks that way. Now, as far as learning how to keep people watching and keeping people more interested, That really depends on the actual type of content that you make. As an example, I have a client of mine that takes one-take videos, and in the one-take videos, he basically just sits there and talks, right? Has a real soothing voice. Everything sounds fantastic. His content, the information that he shares is fantastic. It's slow and things like that. It's pretty much completely opposite of what it is that I make on my channel, but his audience retention is fantastic on his videos because his audience, he understands his audience, which is something that I mentioned when we first started this, understanding your audience and making content for them. So he understands his audience. He understands how he needs to communicate with his audience in order to actually get those results. So for you, what you need to do, Scalper Heroes, you need to actually look in your audience retention reports and say, okay, where are people dropping? And then you, on this particular video, and then you go and you look at another video and you say, okay, where are people leaving? And then you look at another video, okay, where are people leaving? And you analyze all of your videos that way, and you start to look for patterns. You start to look for things that, interesting. Every time I stall, and I'm trying to think of what it is that I'm going to say, people seem to leave the video. Every time I'm playing this game and I have this particular part where I'm not actually doing that much, but I'm talking about something I'm getting ready to do or something like that, a lot of people are leaving then. Or, hey, whenever I use this particular song, or this particular sound effects or this particular segment of my video happens, for whatever reason, people are just not feeling it and they head out of my videos. So basically, if you go into your audience retention reports and you start looking at that information, educate yourself on your own stats. Like I was saying earlier, if you go in and you start looking at your own audience retention and you say, this is a repeating thing that happens, or at least in this particular video, this is a place that a lot of people are leaving. So I need to figure out why, and I need to learn how to actually change that, or to structure my content in a different way so that people don't bail as fast. Melvin Elephant, what is going on? Nice to see you in here. Beanie Draws, I actually have a picture that I took for you today. I was at Walmart, and I saw a dinosaur head. I'll actually send it to you on Instagram or Twitter later. But I saw a dinosaur head mask, and I took a picture of it. So you know that you're doing something when somebody's at Walmart and they think of you when they see a dinosaur. So I just want to mention that real quick. Okay, AP23 says, I want to reach more subscribers. However, I'm not reaching a bigger audience, more like 12 people. Again, be patient, right? Look in your stats, be patient, learn what it is that keeps your particular viewers watching, learn what it is that makes your viewers leave your videos, and also make sure that you're spending time on your thumbnails. Make sure that you're spending time on your titles. All of this stuff is really important as far as generating those initial clicks, because you can make the best videos in the world, but if people are not clicking on those videos, then YouTube isn't going to keep promoting you, right? You're not going to get that traffic. You're not going to get those views. You're going to pretty much, those videos will end up being undiscoverable eventually, right? Because people aren't actually clicking on them and coming in and watching your videos. So you pretty much end up disappearing. That video ends up disappearing, and it's the best video in the entire world. I mean, in reality, if you had the best video in the entire world, people would be sharing it like crazy. But you know what I'm getting at. If you're not generating those initial clicks, then your video is going to get demoted, and people are not going to come in and watch your videos, and therefore, you're not going to get the views, and you got to have views in order to turn those views into actual subscribers. So starting at the very first point of contact, which is your thumbnails and your titles, spend as much time as you have to. You know, like a lot of people will say, a lot of people will spend, hey, I spent 6 hours, I spent 6 hours editing this video, and I don't know why people aren't watching it. Nobody cares. Nobody cares that you spent 6 hours. Nobody cares that you spent 8 hours. Nobody cares if you did it in 20 minutes. Nobody cares, right? What they care about is, one, that it's something that they're interested in, and two, if it grabs their actual attention enough to make them click on it so that they actually come in and watch it. So I hope that answered your question. Next up on the list. This is from Owen Tully, I think is how you say it. The question is, do I keep doing the same type of content even if I'm doing it for a long time and still not very popular? Again, all of this comes down to looking in your stats and seeing how people are reacting to your content. All of this comes down to looking at your thumbnails, looking at your titles and stuff like that, and saying, you know what? And looking at it objectively. Be hard on yourself. Look at it objectively and say, would I click on this? Like, really, would I click on this? Right? Like, as an example, if you pull up like the keyword phrase that you're trying to rank for, and you look at all of the thumbnails that are around that keyword phrase, and you say, okay, out of this whole list of thumbnails, would I click on mine? Would I click on my thumbnail? Would I click on my title over the other results that are available to me? Right? You have to start at that first point of contact, and then once they come into your video, you have to learn how to keep viewers watching. Yabby, you can contact me via if you go to my channel, you can actually send me a email from the About Me page. Okay, next question. Maria, what is going on? I'm just gonna start calling you that instead to make it easy. I liked your vid at the theme park. That was awesome. That looks like a blast over there. Okay, Mary's life outside of the G Team Paranormal asks, I started a vlog channel and would like to know how to reach more subscribers for this channel. If you started a vlog channel, and you're doing it around paranormal stuff, I don't know if you're like out in the world and you're trying to find haunted places and things like that, or if you are sitting in your place talking about those places or whatever, and how you would actually, find people to watch your content is dependent on those. But either way it goes, if you can optimize your videos for search, that's number one, so that people can find you. Basically, that means optimizing your titles, your descriptions, your tags, so that people can actually find you when they're searching for paranormal information. That's the way that you actually put yourself in front of viewers, because at the end of the day, what you want is you want people to search for something on YouTube, and when they search for something on YouTube, you come up, right? That's how you actually get started. That's how you start that initial momentum on your channels. You end up on the other side of the search results. Now, if you're making outrageous videos, and by outrageous, I mean stuff that keeps people watching for a long time, people are clicking on your thumbnails like crazy, people are clicking on your titles like crazy, you can just get a jump start just off of suggested videos alone. But for most people on YouTube, it starts with search. Learning how to rank your videos in search can be a game changer on your channel. And that's why I'm behind TubeBuddy so much, because not because they have me stream on their channel, but because their tool helps you optimize your content so that people can find it, right? And that is a humongous service to people that need that. I mean, it's huge. I know how to rank videos in search. I know how to do keyword stuff. I did blogs and stuff before. I did a lot of freelance work to where I did like SEO for clients and stuff like that. And so I knew, okay, well, this is how you rank web pages, so I'm going to apply this to YouTube, and it worked, right? But when TubeBuddy came along, when TubeBuddy came on my radar, and I installed TubeBuddy, I thought, oh my gosh, this is crazy. This makes it so easy that I don't have to spend all of this time. I mean, you still got to spend time, figuring out what it is that you're going to go after for the phrase and all that. But learning how to rank your videos in search is huge. And as far as getting some of that suggested traffic, you can also do that in your tags and how you're doing your titles and all of that. And you also want to make sure that you have, and this falls back on the thumbnails and titles again for that first point of contact, you want to make sure that you have thumbnails and titles that demand attention, so that when people do see them in the sidebars, they click on them, and then they come and they watch your videos, and then they become a subscriber, and they become an active person in your community. So if that was helpful for you. And real quick, for anybody asking questions, on or down in the description, Andrew has a link. It is a Google Doc that you can go to and drop your question in there so that I can pull it up. Okay, Toxic Divers says, I'm uploading every day. Channel seems stagnant at 588 subs. Small views, only a few comments per video. Not sure what's wrong. Okay, if you're getting small views and you're only getting a few comments per video, that's okay if you're getting small views. If you're getting a lot of views and you're getting a few comments, then you have a problem that you need to fix. But if you're getting just a little bit of views and you're getting a little bit of engagement, then it's kind of synced up a little bit. But as far as being stagnant is concerned, maybe you need to go after wider topics. Maybe you need to narrow your topics down that you're trying to rank for. Like as an example, because you're doing diving, Toxic Divers, I think that you're doing diving content. like if you're doing diving content and you're going for something like the world's best diving, right? Then you're probably going to have a hard time. If you're a new channel, you're probably going to have a harder time ranking for that than if you went for the best diving spots in Thailand, right? Because what you're doing is you're taking that broad term and all of that competition that comes from that broad term, and you're narrowing it down, right? You're lessening your competition, which increases your chance of being able to rank for that term. Now, you don't want to go too narrow to the point to where it's like, hey, you know, nobody's really looking for this. You want to make sure people are actually searching for it, and you can use TubeBuddy to know if they're actually searching for it or not. But you want to narrow it down enough that you're limiting your competition, and that you're laser focusing for the people that are actually looking for the type of content that you provide. And by doing that, that'll help you break through that stagnant thing. And another thing to keep in mind too is, you know, if your channel grew to 588 subscribers, your content's good enough that you're converting viewers into subscribers. If you can get 500 subs, you can get 5,000, 50,000, and so on, right? It's just filling in that blank in the middle. But again, you want to look in your retention reports as well, because if YouTube isn't promoting you as much right now, then you might want to look in your retention reports and say, okay, before the videos that I was making before, how do those compare to, let's say, my last 10 videos, right? The videos that got me the 500 subscribers, how does the retention and the engagement on those videos compare to what I'm getting in my current videos, right? And again, you know, YouTube rewards videos that keeps viewers watching. So make sure that you're structuring your videos in a way that you can actually pull people through your content instead of just making content and throwing it out there. The more strategy you apply, I mean, you got to be a little bit loose. I mean, you don't want to say, okay, well, you know, I'm, you know, 100% this way. I mean, you want to be a little bit loose and a little bit flexible with it, but the more you can fine tune everything, the better off you're going to be. Yeah, the about page on my channel will get you there. Or you just shoot me an email, asknimmin@gmail.com. That'll work. Asknimmin@gmail.com. Okay. Next up is Feist Gaming TV. It's a two-part question. They say, what is a legitimate score to utilize as a title for a YouTube video, i.e. using the keyword search score TubeBuddy offers? I've been using 80 to 83 if I'm lucky to make it with that amount, but don't know if that's a good score per se. Yeah, that's a great score. What's a core tip you can recommend? The second part of that is, what's a core tip you can recommend when creating a unique title that people search? Okay, a core tip that I can recommend is going for a phrase that people actually search for. So you take that phrase, you can either, one, go with only that phrase, right, which is good in some cases, but it's not great in other cases. It's good in the cases to where it's like, hey, you know, I'm hitting the nail on the head as far as saying the exact thing that people are actually searching for. But you also have to think about suggested videos as well as search, right? Because most of your traffic, long term, most of your traffic is going to end up coming from suggested videos. So what you want to do is you want to take your phrase and you want to say, this is the phrase that I'm going for, but I'm going to add additional words, you know, maybe to the front, maybe to the back, depending on where it fits with the phrase that you're going for, that will make that phrase a little bit more interesting. So you keep that phrase together, but then you add just a little bit to the front or back that makes it a little bit more interesting. You know, a simple way to think about that is the best, right? The most, the funnest. You know what I mean? Like words like that, and then you put your phrase or your phrase. And again, this is the simple way. The examples that I'm giving here is kind of the clickbaity way to do it, but clickbait in a good way as far as things that people actually respond to. But, you know, you have your actual phrase in the front, and then, you know, that you wouldn't believe, or, you know, your phrase in the front that you haven't heard before, or your phrase in the front, you know what I mean, to where you put a little bit more on it to make it to where it's interesting and suggested and search, and you actually have that full phrase in there to help you actually rank and search as well. And another thing, you know, for everybody in the chat right now, another thing to consider that I really strongly recommend is, if you're not already doing it, make sure that you're A/B testing your thumbnails. Because TubeBuddy, I'm guessing everybody in the stream here has TubeBuddy. If you don't have it yet, make sure that you are, if you don't have TubeBuddy yet, go to tubebuddy.com/install, and then you can get it. but I'm assuming that everybody in here has TubeBuddy already. So what you want to do is you want to go in for your actual thumbnails, and you want to create tests against your thumbnails, right? Oh, it's legend or higher. Okay, well, then like I said before, as far as the investment is concerned, if you don't have access to A/B testing, you need to upgrade to legend right now so that you can get this feature, because a lot of times when we make thumbnails, we think, well, people are going to love this. Hey, people will respond to this. But when you compare that thumbnail against another thumbnail, then you say, oh my gosh, wow, you know what? People aren't responding to this thumbnail as much as they're responding to this other thumbnail, when I thought it would be completely the other way, right? Because you get actual real data from users on what people actually respond to. So as far as that title is concerned, and this is back on Feist Gaming TV, as far as that title is concerned, as far as, you know, creating that unique title that people search, you also need to create a thumbnail that people actually click on once your content comes up in search. So you have that title for search that they click on because it's interesting and because you're matching their keyword phrase. And then you have a thumbnail that is also interesting that either, you know, that either expands on your story. Got it, Andrew. Thank you. That either expands on your story or something like that. Just something that makes people want to click. Again, compare, you know, the other people in your niche, but something that makes people want to click so that when you do rank in search, you can actually win those clicks. Maria, A/B testing. No, don't apologize. Any question is a good question. A/B testing is essentially where you say, okay, this is thumbnail A, right? This is where the idea comes from. This is thumbnail A. This is thumbnail B, right? So what I'm going to do is you load both of these thumbnails into TubeBuddy. You have your original and then you have your variant, and you load both of those into TubeBuddy. And when you do that, what's going to happen is, let's say you have one, like in your theme park video. Let's say you have one at your theme park video and you just have the theme park with the text on it like you currently have. The next video, or the next thumbnail, not the next video, but the next thumbnail that you compare that against is, hey, I'm going to do the same exact thumbnail, but instead of just having the theme park, I'm going to move the text over a little bit, and I'm going to put a picture of me over on the right-hand side. And I'm going to see which one people respond to the most, right? And basically, what you're doing is you're comparing thumbnail A to thumbnail B. And then TubeBuddy will actually give you the results on which one, you know, which one performs best. And in addition to saying people click on this thumbnail the most, they're also going to tell you when people click on thumbnail A, they actually watch longer than if they click on thumbnail B. Thumbnail A gets better results in suggested. Thumbnail B, oddly, gets better results in search, right? But you get to have all of this data at your disposal to where you can make your own educated decision on if you're on which thumbnail is performing better for you. So I hope that answered your question. Okay, next up on the list, and we've got about 8 minutes left here. Costume CEO, what is going on? Nice to see you in here. I hope you're having an awesome week. Okay, let's see here. Dana Catalano asks, how do you gain views and subscribers on YouTube when you're an underdog? I've been on YouTube for a while and don't seem to pass the 1,500 subscriber mark, and view count is low. I put so much hard work in my videos, it's discouraging. Okay, so in that situation, right, you're making your content already that you're proud of because you're saying that you put so much hard work into it, it's discouraging, which means that you're putting a lot of passion, a lot of time, a lot of energy into your content. So the next thing that you need to do is you need to spend the time learning how to rank your videos in search, learning how to make thumbnails that generate clicks, and learning how to make titles that also generate clicks as well, because your content is there, right? So you've got that piece of the puzzle fixed, as long as your retention reports say that you know, hey, people are watching for, you know, a decent amount of time. As long as you have that in place, then that's not the problem, right? You're winning there. So what you need to do then, if your view count is low, is and your subscriber mark, if you can't pass the 1,500 mark, but your view count is low, you can't pass that mark because your view count is low, right? Because you need more views in order to generate more subscribers out of those views, and you also need more views in order to really access the solid data to where you can say, okay, well, instead of just saying, okay, well, I'm going to compare 100 people that's watched this video, now you can compare 1,000 or 2,000 people that's watched this video because you got the views. But if your content, if you have that part in place, your content's good, then what you need to do from there is you need to say, okay, I need to spend time on my thumbnails, and I need to spend time on my titles to actually get people into my content. I need to spend time learning how to rank videos in search, And you need to spend time learning how to share your content effectively and things like that in order to actually generate the views initially. And if you're making that good content like you're saying, then naturally you'll be able to generate more subscribers from that. So I hope that was helpful for you. Name creates. What is going on? Nice to see you as well. And I did it again with the name. I apologize. I'm horrible with that. I don't know why my brain just... El Economisto YouTuber says, what can I do to monetize my channel if I'm in a country where the YouTube Partner Program is not available? If you're in a country where the YouTube Partner Program is not available, then you're kind of out of luck. In theory, you could have somebody, and I know that's horrible as well, Name creates, because I know how it is with names, right? So I can't apologize enough because I continually mess that up. And the funny thing is every time I get it right, within like no time at all, it's wrong again. But yeah, as far as the partner program is concerned, if it's not available, then there's not really much you can do, because basically they're going to need to deposit money into your local bank account. So when they do that, then, you know, unless you travel out of the country, unless you can get residency in another country or something like that to where you can get a bank account there in order to have them deposit that money into your bank account, then you're kind of stuck if the partner program isn't available. Dollar Dude, what's going on? Nice to see you in here. Beanie Draws. All right, this is good. Okay, what's a good tip in staying mentally productive? Okay, I love questions like this. What's a good tip in staying mentally productive when maybe the world around you is crumbling, and being able to focus on the creative task at hand without getting too bogged down by personal life and drama, which might drain your creative energy otherwise? That's my big struggle this year. In that case, Beanie, what I would recommend is, and this is going to sound kind of weird, but I would, like, it's obvious to me because, you know, I've seen your content, you know, you're always in the chat, you're always participating in the community. It's obvious that you're into this. So in your case, what I would do is I would actually use this whole thing as an escape from all of that, right? To where it's like, okay, well, you know what? Everything else is crumbling around me, but, you know, if it's stuff that you can't control and it's crumbling around you, and you say, okay, I'm going to kind of use drawing. In your case, I'm going to use my drawing, and I'm going to use, you know, what it is that I'm doing on YouTube and all of that to turn all of that stuff off. And I'm going to focus, like when I'm doing this, I'm going to focus on this instead of, you know, and just kind of block out all of that additional thing and use this as your pleasure source, so to speak, so that you can kind of, you know, overcome that and kind of keep all of that additional noise out. And as a side note too, and I can't say this enough, I know it's kind of like woo-woo for some people or whatever, and I'm not talking about, you know, like the new age side of it, but just as a heads up to you, I don't know if you've tried this or not, but you might want to try meditation as well. That's something that I don't like to recommend to people in a public space like this, but in your situation, you might want to, got it, Andrew, you might want to try meditation, like mindfulness meditation, and see if that helps you out as well. I can tell you personally, you know, like as a kid, I had to take Ritalin and things like that because I was hyperactive and had all types of, you know, bent up energy and stuff like that, and, you know, things like that going on in my brain. And a few years ago, I started meditating, and it has made a humongous impact on my life. So just to go ahead and say that for you, since you're having those things. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you, Andrew, again for moderating the chat. Thank you for everybody that's been hanging out in the chat. I hope you found some value here in this live stream today. If you have not installed TubeBuddy yet, make sure that you go to tubebuddy.com/install. And again, if you are thinking to yourself, hey, you know, I'm trying to figure out how all this stuff works, and I'm trying to rank my videos, I'm trying to get these results. If you have a TubeBuddy account, if you're stagnant in your channel, if you're not getting the subscribers, if you're not getting the views that you want, but your actual retention is there on your videos, that means that you're not getting those clicks. So make sure that you upgrade and you get that A/B testing feature, because it can make a huge difference on your YouTube channel. So make sure that you do that as soon as you can, if you can. And for everybody else hanging out in the chat, I just want to say thank you for hanging out in the chat. If you want to find me, you can find me at youtube.com/Nimmin. Nick Nimmin. And, you know, that's where I share, I basically teach YouTubers how to grow their channels, make videos, and all types of other YouTube-related stuff. So make sure that you head over there and that you subscribe to me if you have not already. Melvin Elephant says, guys, if you are small, this is because Melvin Elephant is having great results. It says, if you're small, do trending topics. Very, very hard to get found otherwise on here. Excellent tip. Excellent tip, and I'm going to close with that. So again, thank you everybody for hanging out. Thank you, Andrew, for moderating the chat. Thank you to Phil and the kind folks over there at TubeBuddy for letting me stand on their stage essentially for this. And you guys have a great week. Have an awesome week, and I will see you next time.